Hi there, Mr. Sutton here, bringing you a lesson on slope-intercept. Now that you've learned about slope, we're going to use slope in the slope-intercept method to help us graph some lines. For your warm-up, see if you can remember the slope-intercept form of a line, and if you can, write down what each letter means. Go ahead, pause the video, do that. All right, hopefully you came up with y equals mx plus b. This is what everyone remembers after high school, if nothing else. The m stands for the slope of the line. Not really sure why they chose the letter m, but I think of it as standing for move. Pretty sure that's not what they were thinking, but it works for me. B is the y-intercept. This is the place on the y-axis that your line touches. Note that this is a point. And when you're graphing these things, you're going to start by putting the y-intercept on the graph. So I always think of B as standing for begin, because that's always where you begin when you're graphing a line. And it's actually a point, keep in mind. So if you have a b value of -5, you know you've actually got the point 0, -5 on the line. So let's go ahead and graph a few of these. We start off with y equals 7 minus 2x. Now you have to be careful here. This is not in actual y equals mx plus b form. Notice the x is on the right and the constant's on the left. So I'm just going to switch those around so that it looks a little nicer. And now we can see that I have a b value of 7. So b is always the number over here that doesn't have an x on it. And that means I have the point 0, 7 on my graph. So that's going to be over 0, up 7, right there. Next, our m value, our slope, is this -2, the coefficient of x. And you can write that, if you want to, as -2 over 1. That gives us an idea that we're going down 2, right 1, if we were to turn that into words. So beginning at your y-intercept, go down 2, right 1, put another dot. And you could keep doing that if you wanted. There's no need. You really just need 2 points to draw a line. But if you want to draw more points for more accuracy, feel free. Here's another example. Pause the video and take a sec to try this one on your own. Let's see what we came up with here. Our b value is 3. That gives us the point 0, 3, which is right here. Our m value is 4/3. That's telling us that we need to go up 4 and right 3. So beginning at our y-intercept, let's see what happens. So we go up 4. Oh, we already run into a problem, right? The grid line does not extend up there. So there's 2 ways to work around this. You could draw in more grid lines and just continue the graph up there, and that's fine. Another way to do it, if you're feeling clever, these directions can actually be reversed as long as you reverse both of them. If you want to go left 3 instead of right 3 and still have the same slope, you also have to reverse this up-down direction. So you could call this down 4 and left 3. So down 4, left 3, there's a dot, and you can draw the line that way. Notice that it's the same line you would have had as if you went up 4 and right 3. So these can go either direction, although most people, usually if they can help it, go to the right. For this next example, we've got a little bit of an issue. You might notice that this is not in y equals mx plus b form. So we need to put it in that form if we want any hope of graphing this. Now, it's not too nasty of an operation. All you actually have to do to put it in mx plus b form is isolate the y value. So to do that, our first step, we're going to have to move that 3x over there by subtracting. And then we'll have to divide both sides by -5. So we'll have y equals, this will be a negative divided by a negative, so positive 3 over 5x. And then this will be -4, 20 divided by -5. B value, -4. Slope of 3/5. Let's go ahead and graph those now. So we've got down 4 for our y-intercept, going up 3, right 5, and then draw the line. This next example is one that I think of as being so easy it's hard. This is the most basic line in the world, but a lot of people get confused because they don't see an m or a b value. So rewriting this, m is the coefficient of x. That's an invisible 1. And b is the constant that's being added to x. there's an invisible plus 0 there. If you rewrite it like this, it might be easier to see that you have a y-intercept of 0 and a slope of 1. So that's going to be the origin, 0, 0, as our b value. And then we're going up 1, right 1 in order to graph that. The next two problems here, and I'll just show you the next example so you can have a sneak peek. We have x equals -1 coming up next. Right now we're dealing with y equals 2. These two problems are actually even easier than the last example we had. It's just people don't realize what they're looking at. So this is saying that y equals 2 all the time. This is saying that no matter what x value you plug in, you're always going to get the same y value of 2. So you plug in 0 for x, the y value is 2. You plug in 1 for x, the y value is 2. You plug in 1,000,000 for x, the y value is 2. So if you think about it a little bit, you might realize we're dealing with a horizontal line. And the other problem, it's going to be a vertical line. But a lot of people kind of get them mixed up. So here's a way of telling the difference between horizontal and vertical lines. It's a little acronym I call HOIVUX. Each of these words stands for one of the types of lines. Hoi, the H, stands for horizontal line. This O in here is actually a 0. That's saying that you have a slope of 0 for a horizontal line. And this Y is saying that horizontal lines have the form y equals some number with no x's involved. The V stands for vertical. For vertical lines, you have a slope that is u for undefined, and the equations for vertical lines all have x equals a number. So here we've got just a y equals, so that would be the y in hoi. That tells us it's a horizontal line, and horizontal line through 2 is just going to be a horizontal line through the y value 2. Let's do another one of these oddballs. We see just x equals -1 for this equation. This x is in that word vux from HOIVUX. Remember this one right here, vux. That means we have a vertical line going through -1. So here's the x value, -1. Just draw a vertical line through there, and you are done. So that's it for graphing lines in y equals mx plus b form, or this other oddball little form here. Until next time, this is Mr. Sutton signing off.